Some of the biggest names in Democratic politics gathered today to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Now, 54 years ago, it was the site of one of the key events in the struggle for civil rights when peaceful demonstrators were pushed back by state troopers. In this crowd, some of the 2020 presidential hopefuls, including Senator Cory Booker and Bernie Sanders. Now, when it comes to American politics, Donna Brazile is well acquainted with the old guard and the new faces. She knows them all because she's seen it all, both as a campaign strategist and as a former chair of the Democratic National Committee.
This should never happen to another president. This is so bad for our country.
He is a con man. He is a cheat.
You're a pathological liar.
Divisive probably isn't a strong enough word to characterize American politics right now.
Mr. Trump is a racist. In private, he is even worse.
It's hard enough to navigate without all the talk of Russian interference.
Just what mischief is Russia up to?
The next generation of political leaders will need spines of steel and mentors. For Democrats, one of those mentors is Donna Brazile, a strategist who's seen the best and worst of days for her party.
This is a president who has criticized women, who have called reporters some disgusting things.
An advisor to Bill Clinton during his runs for the White House. She ran Al Gore's 2000 presidential campaign, the first African-American woman to ever do so. And in 2016, she was the chair of the Democratic National Committee, which put her right on the front line of Russia's hacking of the DNC. She was also in the thick of the battle between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton.
That's just not accurate.
Donna Brazile knows the ugliness of politics, and yet somehow she still has hope. We sat down in Toronto to find out why.
I feel like I need to apologize to you to start off with, and I'll show you why. It was a few days after the election in 2016. And I thought it would be a bright idea to do a story about how on earth people were going to handle their Thanksgiving meals. So I'll just play for you what we're talking about here.
Oh my God. I don't think we'll have any feud in my house. We all agree that the gumbo should be spicy, the rice should be dirty.
Is that the only topic of conversation at your house this Thanksgiving?
This Thanksgiving, we're going to avoid politics. I've had enough of it.
What I wanted to know then, and what I still want to know now, is what was actually going on in your head then? It was just, it was fresh, this election.
It was. In the hours following the results in 2016, I had to get back to Washington, D.C. to talk to the staff. When it comes to politics, I see myself as a mother, a mom, and they're my kids. I sent them into battle. I raised them. I sent them into battle, and they came up short.
I want to go back to how you started, because you just talked about the importance of talking to your staff, right, of being a leader. And yet, this book starts with an anecdote. It took months for Hillary Clinton to call you.
It was the last time I talked to her, too. I still support her. I still believe that it was a cause worth fighting for. I sacrificed everything I could to help her in terms of, I stopped doing the things that brought me pleasure and happiness so that I could take over this responsibility. For the second time in my life, I am the only human being, I believe, that have served this chair twice, and I never signed up for the job. I was in the line of succession.
It broke your heart.
The last one was not just a heartbreaker. This one caused me to have PTSD, and I didn't understand what that was until months later. I went to the dentist and I said, my mouth won't stop working at night. I was grinding my teeth. I had insomnia, which I've never experienced. Every time my doorbell rang or someone came to my house, I was frightened because of the death threats. So I had a lot of psychological things that were happening at the same time. And so all I wanted was a basic thank you for a thankless job. And that's all I wanted.
How much weight do you give to the hacks for the loss?
By coming up short less than 100,000 votes, people blamed it on, she didn't campaign hard enough in those states, she didn't do this. Well, take all of those so-called analysis and put that on the table, but put one other thing. She was hacked. Her party was hacked. We were under attack. I couldn't rely on any information I had because we didn't know if the information was accurate. Here someone goes into your house. It's a burglary. They steal your information, and they're using it in ways that are hurting you. They have the ability to control our agenda and our communication, not just with our voters, but with the American people. And you know, the use of social media to form a false narrative, the weaponization of stolen, hacked emails, yes, it had an impact.
How did you notice? What was the first thing that you physically, tangibly noticed about the hack?
I sleep with my iPad, okay? I mean, I have a little issue there with my gadgets.
We'll get you some help.
Oh yeah, get me some help.
Okay.
But I noticed that it was doing jumbo. Like, it kept asking me for a password. I'm like, well, hell, I gave you the password. What do you want my password for? And it just kept, it was as if I could not turn it off. And it just kept asking me for things, and I kept hitting it back. And finally, I called over to a guy named Bates in our IT department. I said, something's funny. And then I noticed that some of my other staffers were having issues, and they told me that the IT department said, turn in your computer. Well, my computer, in my case, my iPad, was owned by me, but my internet address was the DNC, and that was the hacked, stolen information that was being corrupted.
What's the most personally disturbing thing that happened to you as a result of the hacks?
Well, I believe as a result of the hacking, you know, just my entire life is still on lockdown. I tried to apply for a credit card because I needed a MasterCard and a Visa. And I just applied, and you can't have access to my credit. I'm frozen.
Within a couple of days, there would be a massive dump of emails that would damage Hillary Clinton's campaign. Mr. Trump responded by stating to the effect, wouldn't that be great?
The subject of the hacks has come up again this week because of the Michael Cohen testimony,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Suggesting Roger Stone called Donald Trump to say this is coming. What were the words that came out of your mouth when you heard that?
I've been talking to Michael Cohen now for a few months, and so I'm not surprised. I've not discussed our conversations with anyone because I believe they're private communications. I have, on more than one occasion, expressed my utter disappointment, my frustration that it's taken us this long to get to the bottom of everything. And of course, I just hope that we can find ways to protect and secure our elections in the future. I can't bring back the past. Many of the wounds I still have, they've healed. There are some that are not going to heal anytime soon. But I just want the country to know what happened. Because if we don't prevent this if we don't expose what happened, someone had to have talked with foreign operatives. You always know when there's something happening in your elections.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
What does it change, though, that Donald Trump might have known about these leaks? What does it change for you?
Well, first of all, I'm very disappointed with President Trump. From day one, he should have condemned what was happening. He should have said, we're not going to use these stolen, hacked emails for political gain. Instead, they encouraged it, they utilized it, they weaponized it, and they almost encouraged the hacking by saying, give us more, without consideration of what it would do to undermining our democracy. It put every institution in American politics on notice that foreign money and foreign actors are playing in such a dangerous way in our electoral politics.
When Hillary Clinton was having the fainting episode and you were asked if we needed a new ticket, what would it be? You said?
I said Biden and Booker.
And how do you feel about Joe Biden, Cory Booker
Because
now?
the old and the young and the restless searching for tomorrow, one life to live. That's a soap opera. I don't have a favorite. They're all my friends. I love Joe, I love Cory, I love Kamala, I love Amy, I love Elizabeth. I've had dinner.
I didn't hear you say Bernie in there.
I have enormous respect for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders and I go back to the Jackson campaign. So I'm in love with all of them. Why should I have to choose?
Because
They make me feel young again. You know why? Because we now have a party that is talking about the future. Can you imagine? We're having a debate within the Democratic Party over climate change and how fast and how far we can go in cleaning up this planet and cleaning up the mess that we've created. We're having a debate about living wages and income inequality. We're having a debate about the future of education. These are debates that we have missed because we've been talking about what? Donald Trump. For the last 4 years has been Trump, Trump, Trump. And I think people are beyond that. And they want a party that can go beyond Donald Trump.
Let me ask you about Kamala Harris for a second. We had a panel up here, and a viewer asked one of our analysts, what about Kamala Harris? And the American analyst said, you know, I believe Americans can get past their racism and their sexism. I'm not sure they can do it at the same time.
Ooh. You know, I've seen America get past its racism and its sexism. And you're right, I haven't seen a candidate since Shirley Chisholm to break that double bind. She broke it by becoming the first black woman in Congress. Imagine if had Shirley Chisholm lived to see this day, she would be 94 years old, just like Dr. King would be over 90 years old. And they would have seen, Dr. King would have turned 90, they would have seen this country grow up. And this country accept differences and diversity. Today in American politics, we have the most diverse Congress ever. And so I think we can get past racism and sexism. We're going to get past all of it in my lifetime. And I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Okay, really nice to meet you properly.
Same here. Thank you.